This is Heather Mae from Titan TV. I'm here with the infamous Brian Quinn.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. So here you are. You're the new member of Candlebox, and you've been in the scene for so long. Tell me how you got where you are right now.
So I had the band Foster Child in Philadelphia that I had started with Kevin Miller from Fuel back in 2005. Octane was my band prior to that in Philadelphia. But, people in the Philly area know we got popular regionally. So the time kind of was up with that, and Kevin called me and wanted to start a project. So I had a singer and a bass player, two buddies of mine, Danny Beisel and Eric Lenhart. And we put Foster Child together and went out, and we signed a record deal with Warner Brothers not long after that. And in the process of being on the road with Foster Child, I met Kevin from Candlebox. And we met in New York City one night. We did a showcase for the label at a place called, I think it was called Snitch. Club Snitch. And like Duff McKagan, a couple other rock guys had a vested interest in that place. So Kevin and I met that night in New York City. We ended up hanging out, and then we just stayed in touch over the years. And he was going to help, trying to help Foster Child out where he could. And he went off and had done the Gracious Few with the guys from Live. And he just called me out of the blue one day and said, I have this side project, Le Projet, with Morgan Rose, who's the drummer for Seven Dust, and invited me in on a couple of recording sessions. So we went into recording sessions, and it went amazing. And Morgan said to Kevin, it was like, man, that's the guy if you're looking for somebody for Candlebox. And they ended up doing a personnel change with Candlebox, and Kevin called me and said, hey, man, the gig's open if you want it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we're in one for the audition. He was like, just show up, when could you be here? And that was it. And I started. I went sight unseen, sight unseen as far as an audition went with them. But just showed up and started with them 2 summers ago. And it's
you're already writing with them? And
yeah.
I know you're already touring with them.
Yeah. So we toured that summer, and then Kevin decided he wanted to make a record. He had skeletons for about 4 songs, and we went into Think Loud Studios out in York, which the guys from Live own, which is a beautiful facility out there. And we went in there, and with maybe 4 skeletons, I think we wrote 13. There was 4 done, so we wrote 8 or 9. 8 more made the record. So we ended up with a total of 12 songs, and we wrote like 8 of them in the studio as we went. And it was just, we were just slamming them out, and it was feeling really good. And we had that record done in 12 days. So it was a guerrilla record. It was probably for me the most important record I've made, because it got me out of a comfort zone that I was used to with Octane and Foster Child, and it maybe a little bit heavier, harder rock influence, where Candlebox is rock and hard rock for sure, but it's just different. And it creatively took me in spots that I hadn't been to. It forced me out of a comfort zone, which was amazing. And even with this project, you guys are here today now. I'm sessioning for a guy named Kai Bryan, who's up from South Carolina. But had I not made disappearing in airports with Candlebox, I wouldn't be out of the comfort zone to do something like this. You know what I mean?
So is this your first round on session work with other musicians?
Yeah, well, the first one lately. I've done country records, I've done blues records and stuff. A lot of what I get called for sessions is for slide guitar, and which I love, because and this stuff with Kai is kind of in my wheelhouse. But Candlebox it was just a great record to make, because I was out of my comfort zone. It was guerrilla recording, like I said. It was, man, bang, 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 just song after song, and working with guys of that caliber that have been in their position that they've been in for 25 years. It's an educational experience for me too, because now I'm there, I'm in the thick of it, and it's show up or go home. So.
I mean, I guess being a friend and a fan for so long, being in the same scene, the Philadelphia scene, it's very small but very large at the same time. Like, I'm proud of you. I've seen you with just play for 20 people. Now you're paying for 20,000 people. I mean, that's great. I mean, you got to have some advice for guys that have watched you and said, played with you, opened with you at some of these smaller places that are now looking at you with Candlebox. Do you have advice for those guys?
Yeah, I think I always say, like, half the battle is showing up and staying in it, and being doing all those trench gigs where you're playing to 20 people, and so people ask me all the time about it. I'm like, it's nothing I consciously thought about. Like, oh man, if I go, work hard and get a record deal and be a rock star or anything like that. It's just, I just did it because I loved it. I have a passion for it. And if you have a passion for it, you don't even think about staying in it. You just do it, So yeah, it's one of those things. I got discouraged a million times. I always get asked, like, did you think about quitting? Yeah, of course. Constantly.
Getting that 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, I mean, I got a college education, and I'm glad I got one for the experience. It was more of training for tour than it was. I just ended up not using my degree because I was fortunate enough to get a tour opportunity not long out of college, and then we started Octane right after I graduated. So that turned into something that we didn't know what was going to go on there. So with the regional success that the band had, but the advice is just stay in it. I mean, that's the hardest part, just showing up. And as far as the business end of it goes, it's 90% of figuring out what not to do. You know what I mean? It really is. Just you gotta go out and fail and make mistakes and sign bad record contracts and work with shitty managers and but then also I've worked with some great ones and some great booking agents, or venue cats. It's like it's just a whole thing, man. It's like just staying in it is probably the hardest part, but it'll pay off if you're passionate about it and you work hard. You have to work hard at it.
I just had to sneak in here because I just came out of the studio with Guy Brian, but I've been trying to catch up with you forever, and I know that you've been talking about your touring with Candlebox, and you had success with Octane, and you've been successful with everything you've touched, but obviously every experience is a little bit different. Was there anything that you had done, even with, like, say, Octane, when you really started getting that real, more high-profile touring experience? Was there anything that prepared you for what you're going through right now with Candlebox? Because obviously, I mean, just following you on social media, you've been busy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, the Candlebox thing just had that whole vibe of getting called up to the majors. It was like, all right, you got the call, you're going to the show, that's it. So, and I didn't really. We were so busy with Candlebox. It hasn't been, and we've been so busy since I joined. I've never really gotten to sit down and process it all.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, as far as it goes with Octane and Foster Child and even doing all the solo acoustic gigs in and around the Philly metro area, yeah, it certainly does. It prepares you because you're just in front of people.
Right.
That's, I know a lot of people just starting out have a hard time, like, oh, I could never play in front of people. That was one thing, as the crowds got bigger and bigger through Octane and Foster Child, and now obviously Candlebox. It certainly was. It was. There's nothing out of those experiences. It was just all a learning experience. Even this is a learning experience. Like, I'm still learning because these guys had been in it so long, and I've learned so much about better songwriting, better touring, being a better band member. If you don't, you never stop learning. You shouldn't stop learning.
Right.
And do you still write personally solo stuff for yourself?
Yeah, I really haven't had a whole lot of time to do it, but I have written. I started in the last couple of weeks doing these sessions with Kai. Kind of forced me into writing because I was expecting to come in and just do recording sessions. Like, normally when I come in, there's a song there or an idea there, and I just kind of write on top of it. This was literally, he just had lyrics and a couple vocal melodies, and I was writing from scratch, it was an unexpected thing. So after that, and this was maybe about 3 weeks ago when we started on this, and I just woke up almost every morning with a new idea in my head, so I started putting them together, and Kevin and I had an acoustic show this past weekend out down in North Carolina, and I showed him a couple of the ideas, and we immediately started working on it. Like, we're on our phones with the drum pads and GarageBand, and so we got a couple ideas down for what will probably end up being the next Candlebox record. So I have no problem putting my solo
your
stuff.
stamp on it, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I have no problem putting the solo stuff on hold. I still get to go out when I'm home off of the road. I still enjoy playing like the local bars. I'm at the Bridgeport Rib House a lot, and just having a few beers and playing some cover music that I dig, and some of the original material that I had written for Octane and Foster Child, I still do. But yeah, that's about where I'm at. I just stay busy.
You know, you've had a little bit of a breather, you know, between, you know, all your touring with Candlebox. You're getting ready to head back out. What do you got going on?
So we, Candlebox will start back up. We had a 6-week break. This was our first long break that we've had in about a year and a half. We had a couple short breaks here and there, but this is the longest break that we've had for about a year and a half, which, like I said, I haven't had really any time to process everything that's been going on. But even looking at the social media stuff, I'm like, oh my God, there's a lot of people at that show. You know? It's just different when you're in it, you know. But so coming up now, we have a West Coast tour that we start up in, I want to say Oregon. We're doing like Oregon, Seattle, Los Angeles. I think there might be a Montana date in there, Idaho. I just haven't looked at the schedule, but I know we're going to be based mostly out west for November. That'll take us into the holiday season. I get another break up until about Christmas, and we prep to go to Europe. So we start Europe the second week of January. We'll be over there. We're doing UK, Germany. I'll be in Denmark, France. So
Very nice.
Sucks.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, I've never been.
Yeah,
Which is the one thing.
nice.
I've done the continental states multiple times, probably 20 at this point in my career. So
That's
Europe's going to
exciting.
be fun. I can't
That's
wait.
That's so
I'm
cool.
a little jealous. Yeah.
Are there any other bands that are touring with you?
Yeah, so the West Coast run and the Europe run, it's going to be the same band. It's a cat named Jeff Angel. He's out of Seattle, and his other band, he has another band called Walking Papers with Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses and Barrett Martin from Mad Season.
Oh, nice.
So, but this is another project, a different project than what he's been doing. So Jeff has the band Static Land. They're going to be with us for the West Coast and the European run. They'll be out there with us. So looking forward to that stuff. I have yet to check the stuff out, to be honest, but I will. I did check out his other band, Walking Papers, that he has with Duff McKagan, and I love that. So, and anything those Seattle guys are involved in is generally cool.
Yeah.
So is it definitely a big difference going from a tour with Foster Child to something like Candlebox?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the perks are a bit better because we're on a nice bus and we get nice hotels and we actually get fed. So there's food
like
to
riders.
be
You have
eaten.
riders.
Yeah. It's all done.
You don't have to
It's-
stop at gas stations to go number 2?
Well, we still have to do that. There's no number 2 on the bus.
No?
No. So, yeah, that schedule you got to figure out for yourself. That's every man for himself.
You
But
better
yeah,
do it in the hotel room.
Yeah.
Drink
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of coffee.
Yeah, or the truck stops or whatnot. But there are, obviously there's perks to it, and I love that. It's nice when you have nothing to worry about other than performing at your best, writing at your best, creating at your best. It certainly makes things a lot easier, for sure.
Okay. Now, obviously, today you're laying down some tracks with Kai Brian, like we were talking about, and we're at Paul Hammond Studios. Yesterday, though, you were over at Rotation Records. Were you working on a different project over there at Rotation?
Same project over there. We were just doing a little pre-production, getting some writing done. Like I said earlier, this project with Kai kind of came out of nowhere, and I was expecting coming into it when I do session work, there's already some like structure of a song, or at least a skeleton of a song, and I'm just laying guitar parts down. I roll in, do my part, and I roll out. This was a little bit different, where we were writing from scratch, and not being, I hadn't heard any of his stuff. I didn't even meet the guy.
Right.
But it's been working out great. It feels good. It's a southern rock type thing. I get to play, play to my country and blues influences a lot.
Had you done this kind of work before in terms of just like literally laying down tracks?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the majority of work that I've done has been with like country guitar and slide guitar, like more
Right, you
blues
were
angle.
talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is right in my wheelhouse. I
Cool.
like it.
Cool.
It's good. Stuff's cool. So I'm still getting my head wrapped around it because it's brand new.
Right. Nice. Wrap it up.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, you know
Well, we've
what?
been talking about catching up for like, I don't even know how
Ever.
long. It's like, nope, sorry, I'm out on the road. I'm out on the road. I'll be back for like 2 days, you know.
I'm just
It's
very happy
crazy.
for you. You've always been a wonderful. Bleh. You've always been a wonderful person.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed getting drunk with you many times and having my girlfriends go, oh. That doesn't need to be on.
Do you
I'm
guys
just
have
saying.
any good drunk stories? Any good drunk stories?
I have a girlfriend who's obsessed with him. She actually just texted me. I have to take a picture, and she's just like,
Oh,
I hate you, and tell him I love him. Like, wow.
That's fun.
Well, that's nice and always flattering. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity too.
It's
You know
like-
what I mean? To be able to do
Do you
this.
ever get anyone in the crowds like throwing their underwear at you, throwing their bras at you, anything like that? Because man, you're up there rocking guitar, man. You know, it's like you know.
And you
you're-
are the
you're
hottest one
you're
in the
sex
band.
symbol. You're a sex symbol up there, man. You know.
No.
You get any numbers? You know how many girls like crumpling up paper, throwing stuff at you? You know,
No,
call
not
me
really.
later.
I guess when I have the beard, I look a little too intimidating. I don't know.
Denise made you do that, didn't she?
Yeah. Oh,
She's
look,
like,
look,
you need to look
no,
as
she
awful
hates
as
it.
you
in
can.
fact.
Yeah.
She
Did you
hates
just
it.
call him awful?
No. I said Denise wants Brian to look as awful as he can,
Yeah.
you know, so he's not constantly having any groupies throwing
No,
themselves
she's
at him
actually
and
always
whatnot,
like,
you know?
no, what are you doing, man? Shave, get up there. She's
Yeah?
actually very supportive about all
That's
that
awesome.
stuff, man. And it's kind of a rarity. It takes a lot of patience to be a rock guy's significant other for sure.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a lot of patience. I owe a lot of being able to do what I do to her because, you know, without that,
She is
it'd be
very
a lot
supportive.
harder. Yeah, very, very supportive. So no
Behind
complaints
every
there.
good man is a good woman.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And she, you know, so one of the biggest things with her is, you know, we both own, but it's her baby, DMK Publicity.
Yeah.
So she's a rock publicist. She handles a bunch of different types of businesses, but predominantly she's a rock publicist. So and a music publicist. So her being around that and just having the experience with it, she knows it's not what it really. There's more than meets the eye with it. You know what I mean?
Has there ever been any overlap between your work and hers?
Well, yeah. I mean, she's technically been my publicist
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
long time and
Nice.
biggest cheerleader and supporter. So, yeah, a lot of the coverage that I've gotten just on my own and getting it for Octane and Foster Child prior to being in Candlebox was her doing. That was all her witchcraft.
Nice. Nice.
Well,
Well, Brian, thank you so much.
Thank you.
man.
Thank you
It's been
for
a long
having me.
time coming,
Yeah,
man.
it's good to see you.
Good luck on the road with Candlebox.
Thank
Yes.
you much.
And we'll catch up when you get back.
Rock
Or actually,
Titan.
we need to catch up with you out on the road.
Yeah.
We need to catch up with
Oh.
you guys out on the
oh
road.
yeah,
That'd
so
be
you're
cool.
gonna fly us out to
Yeah.
Europe, and then we're all gonna hang out.
Yeah, we're going to go on a
Come on.
European tour of Candlebox, man. There you go.
Tea and scones.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Rock Titan, Brian Quinn.
We're out.